We'll talk about the protest camp in Oxford University. See all these tents being pitched around colleges all over Britain, all over America. But Oxford University's passionate pro-Palestine protesters have packed up for the summer. I guess peace in Gaza can wait while the students head home for their holidays. It's pathetic, isn't it? There was a sort of legal threat from the college saying unless you pack up, there'll be trouble. But they had said resistance by any means necessary, that they would carry on and resist all efforts to stop their protest. But come the summer holidays, you know, they got to head home to their parents' mansions and off on their holidays in Greece and the south of France. It really is a bit pathetic. Let's talk to the chair of the National Jewish Assembly, Gary Mond. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you for having me.
What I think about this is that these students, and they're not all students, some of them are professional protesters, but, you know, they love to signal their virtue somehow or other. To be pro-Palestine is to be virtuous and wonderful. Look at us, look at us. We've pitched these tents, we will not be moved, and we will not leave until there is peace in Gaza. Oh, wait a minute, it's the summer holidays. We're off. We'll pack up the tent. So this little spate of virtue signalling is taking second place to going off to the Riviera or Greece. These people, they don't really care. They just care about showing their idea of what they think is virtuous, isn't it?
Well, starting from first principles, I don't think students should be demonstrating at all.
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
They're heavily subsidised by the government. I appreciate they contribute £9,000 plus a year, but they're heavily subsidised by the government for their degrees. They should be there studying and trying to do as well as they can. And by the way, there are far too many universities and too many students in any event, because so many of them get degrees that don't help them in the workplace. But getting to the point about peace in Gaza, there's a simple way for there to be peace in Gaza. That is for Hamas to give up the hostages and to surrender. We have to understand that every single death in Gaza, be it a man, a woman, a child, is the responsibility of Hamas for what it did on the 7th of October. They are responsible for all the deaths in Gaza.
You never see these protesters talking about this. Down at the Glastonbury Festival, you know, all these pro-Palestinian flags. Didn't see any, you know, Stars of David flags in support of the hostages. It is so. I guess that's what I wanted to talk to you about, Gary. This strange idea that to be pro-Palestine, to essentially stick up for those murdering thugs of Hamas, is seen by particularly young people to be the right thing to do. To hate Israel is to signal your wonderfulness. What is that all about?
It's all about a development that's taken place in the last 20 to 25 years, where young people have become generally very hostile to anything that seems to be supporting the West, and Israel is top of the list. And this has led firstly to hatred of Israel, and sadly it's moved on to hatred of Jews. That's what it's all about. And unfortunately, the government, past government, has been doing nothing about it, in my opinion. They need to stop these marches, for starters. Yeah.
There's some funny comments about this camp being packed up on social media. One said, resistance by any means necessary, excluding school holidays, and revolution postponed summer holidays in Tuscany and the Dordogne beckon. I mean, this is what this is all about. They're taking the summer off, having spent the last 3 months, not, as you quite rightly say, Gary, not doing their studies, just showing us how wonderful they are through the prism of anti-Semitic hatred of Israel.
I actually think it would be best if they went to Gaza to spend their summer holidays. I think they might learn something, particularly those who are gays and lesbians. They might not come back alive.
Yeah, we had some footage, but we thought it was too pathetic to show. It is, of course, from the most ludicrous organisation known to man, Queers for Palestine, gay people who passionately support the Palestinian cause, apparently unaware that if they went to Gaza, they'd probably chuck them off a multi-storey car park, or under the laws of that land, imprison them for 10 years. Whereas if they went to Israel, they would be perfectly free to be gay, because homosexuality is tolerated in Israel. In fact, it's embraced, whereas in Palestine, it's illegal.
Well, that's right. In Israel, they would also be able to participate in one of the numerous pride demonstrations that take place regularly across the country. It's not just Palestine or the Palestinian territories, as it may be referred to. It's also elsewhere in the Arab world, particularly in Iran, where Iran is a Muslim country. And there, I remember one of the previous Iranian presidents, Ahmadinejad, said there is nobody in Iran who is homosexual.
Well, you can't argue with that. That's a bit like Queen Victoria saying there's no such thing as lesbians, isn't it? A kind of denial of the truth.
Exactly. So it isn't just Gaza and Judea and Samaria and the Palestinian areas they're in. It is a much broader concept, I'm afraid, across the Muslim world.
Gary, this was sort of fairly a light-hearted piece about kind of essentially a serious subject. If you're around next week, I wouldn't mind getting you on to talk about what looks to be a nascent conflict perhaps in the north, Israel perhaps going against Hezbollah. Just quickly, where do we stand with that?
There's a lot of talk of it all being delayed. This is my personal opinion, I think that Israel is going to wait for the Trump presidency. Yeah. I think that it's too much to handle with Gaza at the moment. It's got what it perceives to be a hostile White House with Biden there. I think the smart money is on Donald Trump being the next president, who's going to take a somewhat different attitude to the whole matter. And I think you might see things flare up in the north in early 2025.
Yes, President Trump genuinely stands with Israel, and so do many of us, Gary. Great to talk to you. Thank you very much. Gary Mond there, Chair of the National Jewish Assembly.